If you're looking for the most streamlined, low-effort farm in Schedule 1, this build is it. It's the easiest farm I've ever made. Fully automatic, totally AFK, zero micromanaging. Once it's set up, you barely have to touch it. You only need to order one delivery a week, and you're golden. Now, it's not the cheapest build to get off the ground, but the payoff is more than worth it, because thanks to the barn's 2 loading docks, we can pull supplies from both Oscar and Shirley without any congestion or backups. The result? Smooth, uninterrupted production without lifting a finger, pumping out 20 bricks a day for a clean $82,000. Which, I know, isn't as much as the bungalow, but you have to do so much less for this farm. Let's break it down. Here's the full layout. Everything is set up to reduce walking time and maximize efficiency. We have the supply shelves in the front right here for our handlers, these nice little cubicles to help with chemist pathfinding, and a centralized production area to turn it all into bricks. And ignore the grandfather clocks, they're just there to represent the loading docks for routing in the application. I'll leave a link to this layout in the description below with all of the routes to help you guys follow along during the tutorial. Real quick, here's a list of everything you're going to need to get this build going, and don't forget to hire 6 chemists and 4 handlers, you're going to need them as well. First things first, let's set up the shelves at the front of the barn. The large storage racks here are going to hold incoming materials from the loading bays, and the medium and small shelves are just for overflow. Next, we're going to run large storage racks all the way around the edge of the barn. These aren't going to be used in production, they're mostly decorative. I just really like the look of having segmented workstations for our employees. We'll also place a few racks in the support struts. These ones actually do matter. They help guide the chemist pathfinding so they move more efficiently around the workspace. Now we can install the new employee lockers. These are where our staff will clock in and collect their pay, so make sure you've got one for each worker. Next, let's set up the production zone. Start with a large shelf right here in the middle. This is going to hold all the finished meth after it comes out of the ovens. Right next to that, place a brick press and finish the section with 2 safes to store the bricks securely. Now it's time to build out the individual cubicles. We're going to place 2 chemistry stations in each cubicle on the side nearest the door, 12 in total. Then, directly across from each chemistry station, place a lab oven. This face-to-face setup helps with direct routing and keeps everything running smoothly. And once all that's done, your build should look something like this. Now it's time to configure all of the equipment to make sure everything flows correctly. Start with the brick press. Set its destination to the safe on the left. Then select every lab oven and set their destination to the large storage rack in the middle of the barn. Finally, go through each chemistry station, set the recipe to liquid meth, and assign their destination to the oven directly across from them. I know it's a little tedious, but we gotta do it. Now with the infrastructure in place, let's move on to setting up the workers. And to start, we gotta assign every locker to a worker. Now, we've got 6 chemists, so assign 1 to each cubicle just like this. Nice and simple, it's not too complicated with the chemists. Just do it for all 6 of them and you're good to go. Now we gotta set up the handlers, and you're gonna wanna pay attention here, it's very important. So choose one of them to be your lead handler. I'm going with Mr. Baldy here. For his first 2 routes, select loading dock 1 and set the destination as both of the supply shelves. For routes 3 and 4, do the same thing, but starting from loading dock 2. Now on to the next handler. For their first 4 routes, select the right side supply shelf as the source, and then assign each route to one of the 4 nearby chemistry stations. For the 5th route, send product from that main shelf in the middle to the brick press. And now we do the exact same thing with the 3rd handler, but mirrored to the other side. 4 routes from the left shelf to the chemistry stations, and 1 final route from the shelf to the brick press. Now for the final handler. This one's in charge of managing the brick press and assisting the chemists at the back of the barn. Assign the brick press first, then create 2 routes from the right shelf to the 2 back chemistry stations on that side. And then add 2 more routes from the left shelf to the remaining 2 stations. For his last route, set it to move bricks from one safe to the other. Now we get to use our fancy new toy. Let's set up the filters. Go to both supply shelves and set them to hold 3 phosphorus, 3 acid, and 2 pseudoephedrine. We prioritize phosphorus and acid as the ones that get 3 slots because they share a delivery van, while pseudo gets its own delivery van, so this helps keep things balanced. Last, but definitely not least, we need to configure the filters on every chemistry station. This is the most tedious part, but it's very important. Set slot 1 to acid, slot 2 to pseudoephedrine, and slot 3 to phosphorus for every station. I know it's a pain. There's no way to copy the filters yet. Hopefully it'll come in a future update. But after we get the filters set, all that's left is to pay your employees and place your delivery orders. Once that's done, your meth farm is fully automated and ready to run on its own, and you only have to touch it once a week. You know who else gets touched once a week? Emmanuel Macron. And speaking of Europeans, GamerSupps just opened their European store, and for a limited time, every single tub comes with a free shaker. All you gotta do is use the code BIGWILLY at checkout, and it'll get shipped from the Netherlands straight to your door. No more crazy shipping fees, and you don't have to wait weeks for your delicious energy drinks to arrive. And you also don't have to wait weeks for this farm to start running either, because as soon as that delivery arrives, your handlers are gonna start stocking the farm. Your main handler will start moving the ingredients from the delivery vans over to the supply shelves. Then the other handlers will move the ingredients on over to the chemistry stations and get those all loaded up. Now, you'll have to do 2 full deliveries for it to get fully stocked. We have a lot of chemistry stations in this farm, and be patient because it'll take the handlers a minute to put everything in the right places. They're a little slow. Once it's all set up, the chemist will start pouring in and mixing it all together. Then they'll move it on over to the lab oven and cook it up real good. Once the chemists hear that ding, they'll move the meth over to the large storage shelf in the middle of the room, where our handlers will move it to the brick press and turn it into sexy little bricks for our dealers. And like I said at the beginning of the video, this is the most hands-free, low-effort farm I've ever made, so in honor of their hard work, I decided to give our employees a little treat. I turned the top of the barn into a bachelor pad. I decked it out with a place to rest, since the chemists love to slack off. Added some beautiful artwork that represents the channel, threw in a TV and some video games, but I'm not very good at them. And all the booze our workers could ever want. Because at the end of the day, everyone deserves to have a little fun. Stay silly, y'all.